Good evening, students. Yesterday we have seen that is how the English literature in the realm of Queen Elizabeth has been started, and how it has taken a turn towards the more mature kind of literature. We were discussing the background towards the history of English literature in specifically Elizabethan age. Specifically, we had seen its political and specifically the economical changes. We had went through that is some causes which had played an important role in the development of the literature of the time. We were discussing the royal families at that time. Uh, Queen Elizabeth, who became the queen, and her era started in 1558 till 1603, and we had talked about the one stuff that is she was the last Tudor king or queen. She belongs to the Tudor dynasty, and she was the last who belongs to the Tudor dynasty. After her, we had this Stuart dynasty. So we're going to talk about these Tudors and uh, Stuarts today. But specifically, I would like to pay your attention on uh, on the family tree of these English thrones, or let's say the English aristocrat society, specifically the English royal families. Okay. Uh, for that purpose, what we have to do, we have to go back into the War of Roses. Anyone of you, do you have an idea about what is War of Roses? War of Roses, I'm going to talk about. Why I'm going to tell you about this one? Because the starting point, all chaos is this War of Roses. Yes. Any idea about War of Roses? What is this War of Roses? War of Roses? Any idea about War of Roses? Okay. When you talk about the dynasties, Tudor dynasties and Stuart dynasties, idea about the War of Roses. Yeah, I'm going to tell you that is, even though yesterday we had started with the Elizabethan poetry, we had talked about the Edmund Spencer. Today I would like to go with a bit background stuff which was remain yesterday, and then we'll move back towards the Philip Sidney, who is our key concern today. Okay, but before that, I will devote most of the time to this background. Okay, आज मी जे बॅकग्राऊंड तुम्हाला सांगणार आहे ते जर तुम्हाला एकदा कळलं तर तुम्हाला इंग्लिश थ्रोनमध्ये जे काही चेंजेस झालेत किंवा इंग्लिश राजघराण्यामध्ये जे काही चेंजेस झाले, ज्या ज्या काही डायनास्टीज आहेत हां, त्याचा सगळा एक ओव्हरऑल व्ह्यू तुम्हाला येऊन जाईल आणि नंतर तुम्हाला कधीच स्ट्रगल नाही येणार. ओके, एक गोष्ट. दुसरी गोष्ट, वॉर ऑफ रोजेसवर ऑलरेडी क्वेश्चन विचारला गेलेला आहे. ट्युडर डायनास्टीज आणि स्टुअर्ट डायनास्टीजवर पण ऑलरेडी क्वेश्चन विचारला गेला आहे. Probably in last net only we have the question on Tudor dynasty, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so we're going to discuss this in very deep manner today. Okay, मी तुम्हाला खूप डीप मध्ये या सगळ्या गोष्टी सांगणार आहे. सो प्लीज ट्राय टू अंडरस्टँड इट अँड take it as a basic stuff. Okay, this is a base to your study, and trust me, it will never gone you wrong. It will give you a strength it will give you a clarity to study. Okay, so War of Roses, this is the time frame of War of Roses. So War of Roses is nothing but the name given to the series of wars fought between the two royal families. Okay, the first one is, okay, two royal families. Which are these two royal families? Royal families who claim to the English throne. Okay, the Yorks and the Lancasters. Do you want me to write down over here? I think it will take too much time. That's why I don't want to write it down fast. But yeah, you might have heard about this one. But still, the Yorks and the, the Lancasters. These are the two royal families, and these Yorks and the Lancasters. The war takes its name from the two roses that symbolize respectively the House of Lancaster. House of Lancaster. It symbolizes red rose, and the Yorks. Okay, they symbolize white rose. Okay, yeah. The question which was asked in the question, that is the same one. That is, which flower symbolize uh, the Yorks? Yeah, and the answer was white rose. So these were the two dynasties, not dynasties, two royal families. Okay, and they were fought for the English throne, and the fight between these two is called as a War of Roses. Okay, 100 Years War, that was a different stuff, but this one, War of Roses, is another thing which has played a very important as well as a drastic change. Think went wrong. These are the War of the Roses is the event which had played a very important role in the English history, and we can find this both political, then religional, and then we can say uh, specifically mm, social changes after this War of Roses. Okay, as we go forward, the War of the Roses occurs the three phases. First, actually began on 22nd May 1455 with the first Battle of Saint Albans. Okay, I'm not going that. I don't want to go that much deep into it because you don't have to see. But uh, I will talk about these dynastic changes due to the War of Roses. Okay, so when we talk about War of Roses itself, we find this thing, that is, it had played a very constructive role in the history of English literature, and from 1487, that's we can call the starting of the Tudor dynasty because of at the end of this War of Roses. Okay, so the thing which I'm going to discuss right now will move towards this very important stuff. So War of Roses, 1487. It's end in 88, but it they were called it. the starting of the Tudor dynasty we can find in 1487. Okay, Tudor. Okay, Tudor dynasty. In that case, we must have to start with Henry the Eighth. Sorry, Henry Seventh, and it's moved towards the Henry the Eighth. Okay, so just tell me. Right now, I will avoid to use back the board. Most of the thing I would like to tell you the orally. If you don't understand anything, please let me know. Okay, stop me, sir. I don't understand this one because the names which I'm going to take right now, it will take too much time to write down on the board. So those who are very important, I will put it on the boards. But some which were not that much important, uh, I will dictate you orally. Okay, so the first one, Henry the Seventh. He was the main character behind this stuff, and he was the first one who we can call as a Tudor, who belongs to the Tudor dynasty, and he has four children. First one, Arthur. Okay. Second one, Margaret of Scotland. Now, these four are very important, so I'll put it over here. First, Arthur. Second, Margaret of Scotland. Third one, Mary. Okay. Uh, and the fourth and very important, again, the Henry Duke of Richmond. Henry Duke of Richmond. Here we have to keep in mind these two names, Arthur, three names. Sorry, Arthur, Margaret of Scotland, and Henry Duke of uh, Richmond. So basically, when we talk about this one, these four are the children of Henry the Fourth, Henry the fifth, sixth, seventh, seven. Okay, so uh, first one, this one Arthur, he was very short-lived person, and Catherine of Aragon, that was Catherine of Aragon was is the name of, yeah. That's why I'm not going. I told you that is War of Roses. It occurs in three phases, we know, but I told you already that I'm not going that much deep into it. Okay, it's your concern, but what is important for us, that is these royal societies. Okay, royal families, and how they emerged in the politics of the England, that I'm going to discuss over here. So this thing, when we just go and see, King Arthur was very short lived, and he died very early. And Catherine of Aragon, uh, or Aragon, she belonged, Catherine of Aragon. Okay, this is the name of the queen. And as Arthur died very young, what happened? This Catherine of Aragon, she married with Henry Duke of Richmond. म्हणजे काय आलं, मोठा भाऊ वारला म्हणून त्याची जी बायको होती त्याची विडो. ओके. शी मॅरिड विथ द हेनरी ड्यूक ऑफ रिचमंड. ओके. आता मी तुम्हाला जी गोष्ट सांगणार ना खूप इम्पॉर्टंट आहे, तुमच्या सगळ्या गोष्टी क्लिअर होतील याच्यात, म्हणून लक्षात ठेवा. म्हणजे धीराशी लग्न केलं तिने. ओके. दॅट्स वॉज द व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट थिंग. ओके. ही एक गोष्ट लक्षात ठेवा आणि स्टॉप या. देन सेकंड वन, मार्गारेट ऑफ स्कॉटलंड. आता ही दुसरी जो जी विंग आहे ही अजून खूप इम्पॉर्टंट विंग आहे. व्हॉट हॅपन ओव्हर हिअर. मार्गारेट ऑफ स्कॉटलंड जी दुसरी मुलगी होती याची, हिच्यापासून हिला मुलगा झाला, त्याचं नाव जेम्स फोर्थ ऑफ स्कॉटलंड. ओके. जेम्स फोर्थ ऑफ स्कॉटलंड. आणि याचा जो मुलगा होता त्याचं नाव जेम्स फर्स्ट. ओके. आणि जेम्स फर्स्ट म्हणजे आपला जेम्स फर्स्ट हू कम टू द थ्रोन आफ्टर क्वीन एलिझाबेथ. ओके. 1603 मध्ये हा थ्रोनवर आला, इंग्लिश थ्रोनवर. ओके. कारण की हा इज बॉरोड फ्रॉम दी स्कॉटलंड. कारण की क्वीन एलिझाबेथ नंतर ट्युडर डायनास्टीमध्ये कोणीच नव्हतं, म्हणून डायरेक्ट स्टुअर्ट डायनास्टीकडे शिफ्ट झालं. सो दिस वन जेम्स फर्स्ट हू कन्सिडर्ड ॲज द फर्स्ट हेअर ऑफ हाऊस ऑफ स्टुअर्ट्स. म्हणजे ट्युडर डायनास्टी संपली कधी, आफ्टर द डेथ ऑफ क्वीन एलिझाबेथ, अँड James first come to the throne. From there onwards, we have Stuart's dynasty. Okay, and that's why I have put it in different color. ओके, समजताय की सो ही झाली दुसरी लिंक. वेगळं होतंय आज. So this is the second link. So आपला Henry the seventh, he has four children. Arthur, he died very early, and his widow married with the Henry Duke of Richmond. Second children of Henry the seventh, he Margaret of Scotland. She had James fourth of the Scotland, and then his son James first, who became, from this timeline we have the House of Stuarts. So we're not going to discuss that one. Then we have Mary, uh, Queen of Mary again. She was the Queen of France. Okay. हे पण पिक्चर मध्ये येणार पण लेट, रेस्टोरेशन नंतर. सो क्वीन ऑफ फ्रान्स, शी हॅड son called Louis 12. Okay. And they belongs to the France. So these two, we're not going to discuss these two right now because their role is a different. But the role of these Arthur died very young, and Henry, Duke of Richmond, and his wife, that is eventually was his sister-in-law, that is Catherine of Aragon. She was Arthur's widow, and she became the wife of Henry, Duke of Richmond. And from this page onward, we can see there is the changes happen in the English throne. Okay, and what that changes, we're going to discuss it right now. Okay, इथपर्यंत कळलं. Then Henry the Seventh, as we move forward and see, after the death of Henry VII, Henry VIII come to the throne, and Henry VIII is nothing but the one who married with his brother's widow. Okay, आणि इथून पासून मग पुढचा पिक्चर सुरू. This we have Henry VIII. So he was the person who come into the picture and who had played a very important role in the in the development of the England. But as we just go and see, we're talking about the Tudor dynasty. This person, Henry the Eighth, okay, what he has done, he had married with six different wives. Okay, so he had this was the one thing, he had different wives and their children. हे तुम्हाला सुरुवातीला थोडं समजणार नाही, पण थोडं लक्ष दिलं ना, हे खूप इम्पॉर्टंट आहे, म्हणून मी तुम्हाला सांगतो या सगळ्या गोष्टी. सो टोटली दिस पर्सन हॅड सिक्स वाईव्स. ओके, फर्स्ट वन इज Catherine of Aragon. We had talked about it. Okay, this Catherine of Aragon had played a very important role in the total history of English literature and history of English, the political history of English. Okay, कसं this lady, that is Catherine of Aragon, she was actually uh, the wife of Arthur, means Henry VIII's brother, and then she married with the Henry VIII. Okay, so these people had lived for 20 years. Okay, जाऊ द्या, थोडा टेक्निकल विषय, त्यामुळे आपण काय करू, विल मूव टू द मराठी, सो यू कॅन अंडरस्टँड प्रॉबेबली. इफ यू हॅव एनी क्वेश्चन प्लीज फील फ्री टू आस्क. सो हेनरी द एट जेव्हा तो थ्रोनला आला, तेव्हा त्याची वाईफ होती कॅथरीन द ॲरागॉन, जी त्याची ॲक्च्युली वहिनी होती. बरोबर आहे. ह्या लोकांनी ॲरागॉन ह्या लोकांनी 20 वर्ष संसार केला. ओके, बट दे finally what happened, this person who Henry the Eighth, he had decided to take the divorce from this lady. Why? Because she is not able to give a heir to the king. Okay, so आपण जे हेअर म्हणतो ना, हेअर वारस, so it's heir. So he was the one, uh, that Henry the Eighth was the one who is very ambitious person and he just want a heir for his kingdom, but this lady was unable to give him mm, the right heir. Actually, she went through the four miscarriages, and one of their son they died after the 2 days of the birth. Again they tried, but they didn't get a good hair, so that's why this person had tried to divorce her. But at that time we can find that Roman Catholic Church come into the picture. Okay, आता हा एक वेगळा सीन आहे हा. म्हणून तुम्हाला सांगतो की थोडं लक्ष द्या, सगळं समजेल तुम्हाला. रोमन कॅथोलिक चर्च, रोमन कॅथलिक चर्चचं असं म्हणणं होतं की नाही, तू तुझ्या बहिणीशी लग्न केलंय, त्यामुळे हे टोटली स्पेशल लग्न आहे, त्यामुळे तू तिला डिवोर्स नाही देऊ शकत आणि तुला ते कॅरी ऑन करावंच लागेल. ओके. सो दिस पर्सन हॅड मॅरिड विथ द सेकंड वाईफ. ओके, हर नेम इज Anne Anna Boleyn. Actually, she was the lady who beheaded because of her adultery and mm, her behavior, her what we can say, vicious behavior. And then this lady, that is Anna Boleyn, or we can, this lady will tell you, she beheaded, म्हणजे तिला मारलं गेलं. पण कॅन यू फाइंड दिस वन, त्याच्या मागचं कारण वेगळं होतं, तुम्हाला सांगतो. Beheaded, and this lady has given the birth to the very powerful lady of the England, that is, I don't know, Elizabeth first, born in 1535. सो जी आपली क्वीन एलिझाबेथ होती की नाही, तिची आई कोण होती? ॲन बोलेन, अँड शी वॉज बिहेडेड बाय हेनरी द एट. ओके. ह्या दोन वाईफ्स आणि बाकी थर्ड वन, तिचं नाव मी सांगणार तुम्हाला, नंतर आपण बाकीचे फक्त नावं घेऊ. दॅट इज जेन सिमोर. ओके. जेन सिमोर died in 1537, and she had one son, that is Edward the sixth, who was born in 1537. And then his fourth wife Anne of Cleve, fifth wife Catherine Howard, and then sixth one Catherine Parr. These are the six six wives of Henry the Eighth. But we don't want to talk about these other ones. These two only very important for us. But as I told you, that is what happened. Roman Catholic Church come into the picture and they said a big no for the divorce to the Catherine. Now important है, लिहून ठेव. Catherine of Aragon. So when we talk about this one, Roman Catholic Church said a big no to this divorce, and that's why Henry the Eighth, he he became furious, and what he has done, he had decided to aside the Roman Catholic Church, and what he has done, he come into the picture with the new kind of church that is called as a Church of the England. Church of the England. So इथं टोटली रोल चेंज होतो. म्हणजे हेनरी द एट याच्या मनासारखी एक गोष्ट झाली नाही, म्हणून त्याने काय केलं, डायरेक्टली जी सुप्रीम पॉवर होती त्या याच्यातली, दॅट इज रोमन कॅथोलिक चर्च. सो वेंट वेंट आउट थ्रू इट अँड ही established the Church of England, and they totally Protestant. Okay, I hope you just getting my point. समजते मी काय सांगतोय का वन वे डिस्कशन होतंय? कळतंय का? थोडा वेळ लक्ष द्या, म्हणजे तुम्हाला लगेच सगळ्या गोष्टी हळूहळू लक्षात येतील. कळतंय मी काय सांगतोय ते? समजतंय का काही? नाही सर, कळलं नाही. ठीक आहे, सुरुवातीला थोडा त्रास होईल, कळणार नाही गोष्टी थोड्या. पण जर का थोडं परसिव्हरन्स ठेवला आणि बघितलं तर गोष्टी हळूहळू कळायला लागतील. इट विल व्हेरी हेल्पफुल टू यू. ओके. म्हणून मी तुम्हाला एक डिटेलमध्ये इतक्या गोष्टी सांगतोय त्या. कोणी सांगणार नाही तुम्हाला, पण हे खरंच खूप महत्त्वाचं. ठीक आहे. सो म्हणून जेव्हा आपण याच्याबद्दल बोलतो किंवा जसं आपल्याकडे वेगवेगळे धर्मपंथ वगैरे या सगळ्या गोष्टी आहेत, तशा ख्रिश्चन धर्मामध्ये रोमन कॅथोलिक एक आहेत आणि दुसरे प्रोटेस्टंट आहेत. ओके, विल टॉक अबाउट द प्रोटेस्टंट इन डीप टुडे only, but not right now. So these all were belong to the Tudor dynasties. आणि then Catherine of Aragon, whose son Henry the First, he was again not that much. What we can say, he was very young. So their council, they have put him on the throne. And as he was not that much capable, he didn't give the throne of England. So first of all, Henry the First, he was eliminated. Okay. Then the third person we have, that is we didn't mention over here, that is Jane Seymour. Okay, that was the third wife of Henry the Eighth, and she has the son called Edward. Fifth or Edward the Sixth, and he was born in 1537. 1537. So the council, or to whom we can call as bureaucrats, what they have done, they uh, brought Edward the Seventh on throne after the death of Henry the Eighth. Okay, and he reigned for 9 years. Okay, uh, 9 years, and then his Edward the sixth son, we have this one. Means after Edward the sixth, we have Jane, who just come to the throne, who again belongs to the Tudor dynasty, and he was the son of the Edward the seventh. But what happened? As they have the Catholic strength, only 9 days he was on the throne, and after we have the second daughter of the Henry the Eighth, Mary the First. She was Mary First. She just crowned on 1553. That was again called as a bloody marriage. That has the different reference whenever it come into the picture. I'll tell you. And as she belongs to the Catholic faith, and England has decided to go for the Protestant faith, they have they don't want Mary first on the throne, and that's why she died due to some problem in 1558. And we have our queen, that is Elizabeth the First, who come into the picture in 1559 or 1558. So then at the end we have Elizabeth the First, who was born in 1535. She became she just crowned uh, 1558 59. Some historian says she was crowned um, to the English throne on 1558. Some says in 1509. Okay, but ideal thing is that it was considered as a 1558, and that's why we have the Elizabethan age from 1558 to 1603 till the death of Queen Elizabeth, and then uh, we went to the Stuart dynasty. म्हणजे 1603 पासून स्टुअर्ट डायनेस्टी सुरू होते. Yeah, this is from my side. Any questions? Hope you just got my whatever I want to tell you. कळलंय? काही क्वेश्चन असतील तर बिंदास विचारा. कारण हा असा टॉपिक आहे की यातून आपल्या तीन कन्सेप्ट क्लिअर होतात. एक तर टिडो डायनास्टी क्लिअर होते. सेकंड स्टुअर्ट डायनास्टी कधीपासून पिक्चरमध्ये आली आणि त्यांचा काय रोल होता ते क्लिअर होतं. आणि तिसरं रोमन कॅथोलिक सोडून ब्रिटिश लोकांनी प्रोटेस्टंट पंथाकडे का झुकले हे क्लिअर होतं. द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट ऑफ डिस्कशन would be the Protestants. So, how they come into the picture, their history, we're going to talk about it also. Yeah. Any questions regarding this? Karlai, Pooja, you had asked me about the Tudor dynasty yesterday. Hope you just got the point. And if you don't understand, tell me. I'm just going. I try to discuss it right now. Karlai, hello, online students. Any questions regarding this? बोला 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 लवकर सांगा. कळलंय नाही कळलंय? हॅलो हॅलो हॅलो. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Protestant Reformation. Okay. Anyone of you, do you have an idea about the Protestant Reformation? What is Protestant? So, this Protestant Reformation is considered as a turning point in world history. Okay, what I'm telling you, it was it's considered as a turning point in world history. In 14th and 15th century, Catholic Church is the most powerful religious, political, and financial institution. Okay, and it's claimed to control the keys to the kingdom of heaven through their power. Renaissance, plague, internal disagreement, played an vicious role, and we can find that there is something uh, fishy was there in the Roman Catholic stuff. And then why? There was the people, some of the people they try to return to Bible, and as they move towards the Bible, they can find a bit mismatch between the Bible says and what the Catholic Church was doing. So जसं आपल्याकडे संत तुकाराम म्हणतात की बोलते सचाले त्याची वंदावी पाऊले. But this was these are the people who were not talking anything about means whatever they're doing, it's totally mismatched with the Bible saying, and that's why, as we can see, that is Henry the Eighth. What he has done, he just vanished out the Roman Catholic. He just aside the Roman Catholic Church, and he just come up with the Protestant, uh, yeah, Church of England, who belongs to the Protestants. So, as we move forward and see the Protestants Reformation, Tudor dynasty had the one thing which which has given a birth to these Protestant Reformation, and that's why it's called as a turning point in the world history. Okay, again, I would like to tell you any questions regarding the Tudor dynasty, as I'm just moving forward for the Protestant Reformation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I will move forward to the Protestant Reformation. Puja. Yesterday only you had talked about the Tudor dynasty. Hope you just got my point, whatever I have told you. कळलंय? किंग्स वगैरे यांचे नाव थोडे किचकट आहेत, पण स्टील दे आर व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. Any questions regarding this? Tudor dynasty आणि स्टुअर्ट डायनेस्टीज कुठनं सुरू झाल्यात? तर त्याचा जो बेस होता तो वॉर ऑफ रोजेस होता, आणि मग हेनरी द सेवन त्याचे 4 मुलं, मग त्यापैकी हेनरी द एट हू बिकेम अ किंग, आणि मग त्याच्यापासूनची ही पूर्ण वंशावळ आपण जे म्हणतो तो प्रकार. ओके, सो शॅल वी मूव टुवर्ड्स द प्रोटेस्टंट रिफॉर्मेशन. Yeah, so this is the only stuff which I would like to discuss over here. uh, Protestant Reformation, as I told you, it was the, what we can call it as, a fruit of a quarrel between the Roman Catholic Church and Henry the Eighth, and it was emerged as a turning point in world history. In 14th and 15th century, Roman Catholic Church is most powerful religious, political, and financial institution. But there were several intellectual person which we can call as a the intellectual trajectory of Protestant Reformation. The first name come into this picture, that is the John Wycliffe. Okay, John Wycliffe was the first person who translated mm, Bible in the middle in English first. He was called as a morning star of the Reformation, and he was the one who lead this Lollard movement. Okay, Lollard movement. We also had a question on Lollard movement. Just go and check out the previous year question paper. You find this name Lollard movement, John Wycliffe, and the several names which I have taken today: War of Roses, Yorks, Lancasters, Tudor dynasty. Okay, Stuarts, Elizabeth the First. All names you can find in the previous year papers. Yeah, the first name, which we can call as the intellectual trajectory of the Protestant Reformation, is John Wycliffe. Okay, he was declared a heretic after his death in 1415. um, Martin Luther. Okay, you might have heard about this name, Martin Luther King, the one who belongs to the 15th century. But this one, Martin Luther, he was a German monk. Luther's 95 thesis against the sale of papal indulgence, that is 15 written in 1517, that was considered as the reformation of excommunication. Okay. Yes, even today we have this indulgence. uh, when we talk about this indulgence specifically, um, these clergies, popes, or father of the church, they works as the agent between the god and the common people. Okay, so what was the discussion? Huh. These are the other names. Whatever you're just talking about, no puja, they were all belongs to the protest. Not we can call them as a protestants only, but they are the one who had played an important role in the development, or what we can say, to bring out a kind of wrong things from the religion. म्हणजे धर्मामधला कचरा काढण्याचा प्रकार म्हणतो ना आपला, ते काढण्याचं काम ह्या लोकांनी केलं. मार्टिन लुथर, जॉन केल्विन, जॉन वायक्लिफ. ओके. किती नाव घेऊ अजून, बरेच नाव होते. देन when we just move forward and see, William Tyndall was the one person who belongs to uh, the picture. Okay, yeah, that's the thing I'm just trying to tell you. As we just move forward and try to find out, चॉसरच्या एजमध्ये पण ह्या गोष्टी झाल्यात की त्या लोकांनी दे हॅव ट्राय टू चेंज दी to bring out something from the uh, religion and try to uh, clear religion from this malfunctioning of it and malpractices of it, basically we can say. Okay, so as I told you, that is John Wycliffe was considered as the morning star of the Reformation, and then his low lad movement, which played an important role, which we already had discussed. The one thing I would like to add in these things, that how it's become beneficial for the Church of England of that time, because as we just go and try to find out uh, these changes and this religious revival of the age, it has given mm, a kind of boom for those who just working in the good of the society, or those who just seeking for the reformation. Okay, in that case, this whole chapter, when we talk about the development of the English Bible, okay, specifically translation of the Bible is considered as one total stream of uh, the English literature, but it was the one which has started very early in this English time frame, we can call it. Okay, yeah, the one thing which I would like to tell you, in 1559 Parliament, 1559 59, means after the accession of the Queen Elizabeth I on the throne, only after the 1 year, the Act of Supremacy and Uniformity, which were together known as the Religious Settlement in 1559. The act of this supremacy helped give the reign of complete control of the Church of England into the hands of Queen Elizabeth. So, before we have uh, the supremacy of the church, but this act of settlement in 1559, okay, given 59, it's not one, 59. It's given all authority to the Queen Elizabeth or to the Queen, to the King of the England. All kind of religious settlements or religious reformation would supremacy and act of supremacy and uniformity which comes under the Queen. Okay, yeah, we talked about it already. So these are the things which we had see that had played an important role in the development of the Protestant Reformation. Okay, so in that case, when you just talk about, we had talked about the John Wycliffe's Lollard movement, and this one, the next thing, Martin Luther. Okay, uh, before moving towards the Martin Luther, would like to pay your attention towards the one thing. I don't know whether I'm missing it or not. I forget to bring my notes today. Okay, come back. Is there something else? Will tell you, but right now most of the things I have already told you. Yeah. So this one, Martin Luther, come to the picture. He was a German monk, and he had started working in the cleaning of the religion. Okay, so Bible, he considered it as a forgiveness through the faith and grace. Means Bible was the thing which gives a person salvation, forgiveness through the faith and grace. But then, when you talk about the church, he forgiveness through the sale of indulgence. That is, Puja also rightly pointed out. That is the sale of papal indulgence, which we can find in 1517, written by Martin Luther. That talks about this reformation and excommunication between the God and the common people, and by taking the money or by accepting, mm, what we can call it as the gift for the God, these people give a salvation uh, to the common people. Actually, this was totally the blunder of these clergies, popes, and uh, father of the church. But these people like John Wycliffe, then Martin Luther, John Calvin. Calvin's claim was the one stuff. Uh, they were associated with these all cleaning of the religion. Okay, and what he has done, he just talked about he just condemned this contradictory teaching and corruption in the church. So on the one hand we have they just talked about supremacy of the god and god's involvement in human life, but on the other hand they just doing this corruption, and these things had discussed by the Martin Luther. Then we can find the Martin Luther King Jr., who had, that was a different trajectory. We'll talk about it sometime later. The next person we have is William Tyndale, who also one of the important person who associate with the translation of the Bible and uh, what we can say the development in the Protestant in Reformation. He was burned to death, जाळून मारला होता त्याला इन 1535. ओके, म्हणजे इतके क्रूर होते लोक. ठीक आहे, त्यांनी जिजसला पण नाही सोडलं, तर यांचा काय विषय. सो दिस वन विलियम टिंडल वॉज दी वन पर्सन who burned to death in 1535. What he has done, uh, what was his fault? He had translated original Bible, which is in Hebrew and Greek specifically, and he translated it into English, and that was considered as his um, what we can call it as गुन्हा आपण ज्याला म्हणतो. So he considered as a culprit, and he burned to death in 1535. Okay. uh, William Tyndale's translations of Bible was the it's a kind of base, or he influenced the later translations even till today. When scholars talk about the translation of the Bible, they always has take reference from the William Tyndale's translation. So as I told you, he was the one who had played a very important role in the translations of the Bible. Okay, uh, one of our previous lecture I told you this thing, that is what we can we can take a whole lecture on the translations of the Bible, but I'm not doing this because you might have confused because of it, and that's why I'm just going with the flow. So in म्हणजे प्रत्येक एरामध्ये ज्या एरामध्ये जे रिफॉर्मेशन झालेत त्यांच्याबद्दल आपण डायरेक्टली तिथेच बोलतोय. म्हणजे प्रत्येक सगळे एकत्र न घेण्यापेक्षा प्रत्येक एरा वाईज तुम्हाला कळेल, आणि त्या त्या एरातल्या त्या त्या इम्पॉर्टंट लोकांविषयी आपल्याला कळू शकेल. ओके. The next person we have, that is the Erasmus, Desiderius Erasmus, who was the Dutch person. He rejected Catholic monasticism, condemned the corruption, and he returned to the values of the values and habits of the early church. Okay. प्रत्येक धर्मात, प्रत्येक रिलीजन मध्ये किंवा प्रत्येक पंथामध्ये या सगळ्या गोष्टी झाल्यात, की जी ओरिजिनॅलिटी होती काय त्याच्यामध्ये या लोकांनी यांच्या गोष्टी घुसवल्यात, आणि यांच्या फायद्याकरता यांनी जे प्युअर होतं ना, त्या सगळ्या प्युअर गोष्टी वेगळ्या प्रकारे लोकांसमोर मांडल्यात, आणि त्यामुळे वी कॅन फाइंड दॅट इज दॅट प्युरिटी still people has to seek that purity from the religion or religious stuff. Okay. And then England actually was slow to question the established church. When it finally did, it broke away from the church, and we have Church of England which come to the picture. So as I told you, this is a story of breakup between the Church of England versus the Roman Catholic Church. Okay. आता अजून वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्रीमध्ये मी तुम्हाला बोललो होतो ना, तर ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी खूप इम्पॉर्टंट आहेत, आणि त्या खूप गोष्टी लिटरेचरवर इम्पॅक्ट करतात. ओके, आता कशा, I would like to tell you some things which we can call as the implications of the English Reformation. So a great rupture with the Roman Catholic Church, uh, as these two fought. There's a fight between the Henry the Eighth and Roman Catholic Church, and we can have the Church of England, who belongs to the Protestants. They come into the picture. So this great rupture with Roman Catholic Church, and we have this Protestantism, the official religion of England. Okay, and that's why we see this formation of the Church of England was considered as one of the world, uh, what we can say, a turning point of the world history. ठीक आहे, म्हणजे एक सुप्रीम होता, त्याला बायपास केलं गेलं आणि त्याला काय म्हणतो ना आपण, की पर्याय उपलब्ध करून दिला गेला. त्यामुळे रोमन कॅथोलिक चर्च एक साईडला गेलं आणि चर्च ऑफ इंग्लंड दुसऱ्या साईडला गेलं. ज्यांची जिकडे फेथ होती ते तिकडे गेलेत. पण ह्या लोकांनी टोटली रोमन कॅथोलिकला इतकं पिळलं की यू कांट इवन इमॅजिन. अँड दॅट्स वाय वी कॅन सी द राऊंड हेडर्स, ते कॉमनवेल्थ पिरियड, त्याच्यामध्ये काय काय गोष्टी झाल्यात ना, विल स्टडी इट इव्हेंच्युअली. खरंच ॲक्च्युली when you talk about the history of English literature, not only history of English literature, but the whole history of the world, or let's say how the literature emerged, kind of conversations, these kind of battles, की त्याकरता काही काही लोकांना स्वतःचे जीव पण द्यावे लागले, पण त्यातून जे आलं ना ते खूप प्युअर होतं. म्हणून आपण जेव्हा जो अभ्यास करतो ना, ते खूप इंटरेस्टिंग आहे. पण त्याकरता कसं आहे, ते सांगतो वेळ घेऊन ते वाचलं गेलं पाहिजे ॲक्च्युली एकदा. आणि जेव्हा आपण फक्त एकदा वाचतो ना, तेव्हा आपण स्टोरी कळते. जेव्हा सेकंड रिडिंग होते ना, तेव्हा त्यातल्या ज्या काही इम्पॉर्टंट गोष्टी आहेत ना, त्या आपल्यापर्यंत होतात. ॲक्च्युली दिस इज द मेथड ऑफ स्टडी, की फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जस्ट गो थ्रू, रीड इट, द होलसम थिंग्स यू हॅव टू रीड. म्हणजे तुम्हाला एक अंदाज येतो की काय 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 त्याच्यामध्ये. सेकंड रिडिंगला तुम्हाला कळतं. यू माइट हॅव स्टडीड इन युअर ELT, इंग्लिश लँग्वेज टीचिंगमध्ये आपल्याला ह्या गोष्टी होतात की LSRW ज्या त्याच्यामधल्या रिडिंग कन्सेप्टमध्ये ही गोष्ट आहे, की जर का तुम्हाला एखादी गोष्ट टोटली समजून घ्यायची असली तर फर्स्ट रिडिंग, सेकंड रिडिंग, थर्ड रिडिंग आणि फोर्थ रिडिंग, 4 रिडिंग सांगितल्या. तर मी तुम्हाला थर्ड अँड फोर्थ स्किप केले. फर्स्ट अँड सेकंड बद्दलच मी तुमच्याशी बोलतो. अँड ॲक्च्युली दिस इज द मेथड, मेथडॉलॉजी ज्या म्हणतो आपण, मेथडॉलॉजी सारख्याच टीचिंग मेथडॉलॉजीज पण आहेत, लर्निंग मेथडॉलॉजीज पण आहेत. त्यातली एक हा प्रकार. ओके, ग्रेज अॅनाटॉमी जो आहे, ओके, नाही मी वेबसिरीजबद्दल नाही बोलत आहे. आपल्याकडे त्याच्यामध्ये आहे ELT मध्ये इंग्लिश लँग्वेज अँड लिटरेचर जो आपला सब्जेक्ट होता मास्टर्सला, त्यामध्ये ह्या सगळ्या आहेत. गोइंग चेक इट आउट, टेल मी. Yeah, so these implications of the English Reformation, first thing, the Church of England come into the picture, then upper hand of the Anglican Church, that is English Church, and Roman Catholic deliberately contained and marginalized. So आता ते झालं की ज्याला राजाश्रय तो भारी, म्हणून चर्च ऑफ इंग्लंड बिकेम अ फेवरेट ऑफ दी English throne, and you can find the Roman Catholic just getting aside. Okay, then we can find this religious persecution, that is the Puritans' historic journey to the New World was the thing which has described in it. These colonies in Virginia and Pennsylvania, that is United States of America, has been established, and that is enabled by this discovery of new words. Uh, the person we all know, Christopher Columbus. आता म्हणजे हे परत वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्रीचा सीन झाला की मग कॉलनीज ज्या आहेत ह्या लोकांनी व्हॉट दे हॅव डिसाइडेड, they just decided to go and discover the new words. This period India was far ahead. There was a trade between these two countries, or Europe, you know, between the Europe and India there was a trade. मग कॉन्स्टँटिनोपल मध्ये रोम पडले, मग तो रस्ता बंद झाला. तुर्कांनी जिंकून घेतला. मग नवीन शोधायला क्रिस्टोफर कोलंबस आणि वेस्पुसी अमेरिगो असे बरेच लोक बाहेर पडले. कोलंबस भारत शोधत शोधत अमेरिकेत पोहोचला. पण मग त्यानंतर अमेरिकेला कोलंबसने फक्त शोध लावला. त्यानंतर अमेरिगो वेस्पुसी जो होता, तो त्याने खूप सेव्हरल विजिट्स he had given the England to the America, and that's why United States of America get the name, that is American, America or Americans. Okay, ही झाली वर्ड हिस्ट्री. That was then, these English people was very clever, and they started colonies. सुरू झाला colonialism. Okay, this is the another story. Colonialism. I am not going to that much deep. मग नंतरला पोस्ट colonialism. Okay, colonies खूप वेगवेगळ्या गोष्टी. But yeah, it had shaped the literature. Okay. In 1591, conversion to Catholicism has took place. An act of high treason to prevent threats from this Catholic Church, to counter the claims of Catholic Mary Stuart, Elizabeth's cousin. We can find this conversion to Catholicism has took place. That's why this period was called as a period of turbulent Christianity, that is crucial political moment. Then religious and politics, when we talk about it, the doctrinal choices and this political loyalty not separated in this period, and that's why this was the religion and politics has played a very important role in the development of the contemporary England at that time. And around this religion on the one hand, politics on the other hand, we can see the whole literature has been crafted. Okay, ह्या पिरियड मध्ये ज्या ज्या भारी भारी गोष्टी लिहिल्या गेल्या, लाईक let's say I would like to give the example of the first one. Um, Yesterday only we had talked about the person Edmund Spencer. Okay, and his work, The Fairy Queen. Okay, it was um, dedicated to the Queen Elizabeth. Most of the literature of the period, it was dedicated to the Queen Elizabeth at that time. Why? Because religious and political supremacy of the kingdom. Okay, radical shifts in relation with the rest of Europe. That is, he was politically isolated in uh, in his time. As we just move forward and talk about the English Bible, a journey through the translations was on the top. 8th century, we have the Gospel of the Saint John into Old English prose by this Venerable Bede. We have no Venerable Bede was the person who had written this historical drama. Then in Anglo-Saxon period, we have influence of the French and Latin literature or Latin Bible. English translation did not flourish, and efforts to translate the Psalms and Pauline epistles into the English, but that was not fulfilled. Then come John Wycliffe, 1320 to 1384. Uh, he would just come up with the two complete versions of the Bible in this time frame. Then we have William Tyndale in 1525. The Bible in modern shape, this direct reliance upon the Hebrew and Greek originals. So that's why the New Testament and the Old Testament, they both were getting translated into the common people's language, that is the English language of the time. It was translated from the original Hebrew and the Greek. Okay, so this is the one thing which we have to keep in mind. Then in this Miles Coverdale was the one person in 1535. Yeah, I just want to tell you this name, Miles Coverdale. 1535. He exquisite taste for phrase and rhythm in the literature. And what he has done, he written this beautiful biblical expression, first complete English Bible to be printed. So first printed uh, complete English Bible was printed by this Miles Coverdale, the person. Then come the Great Bible in 1539, a commission of translation under the Henry the Eighth, the hero of our today's lecture, Henry VIII, Henry the Eighth, under his supremacy, a commission of translation took place, and the Great Bible has been written in 1539. And see, after 1539, directly in 1611, we have the authorized version of King James. King James first. So this is the overall journey of translation of the English Bible. Uh, so apart from this, I would again like to tell you one thing about the literature. So these all are things which were uh, playing a vicious role in the literature, and these things are around the literature. Okay, or these things impacted a literature a lot. But the one thing which I would like to tell you uh, today, and I will tell you uh, this thing um, when we talk about the uh, Elizabethan poetry also. This thing is Total's Miscellany. Okay, Total's Miscellany, written in 1557. It was first printed anthology of English poetry. What is it? First printed anthology of English poetry. But before moving this, I would like to tell you one thing again. Total Miscellany 1557, a first printed anthology of English poetry, and it's come up with the many editions. Okay, Richard Total was an English publisher, and we can call him the one, a savior of the early English literature, because a great contribution is a great contribution to the English letters. Okay, he was the one who first one to printed the pleasure of common reader. What common reader want? This was the person who invented it properly, and he printed for the pleasure of this common readers, and that was called as a Totals Miscellany. So keep the name in your mind, Richard Total. Okay, what he has done, he has printed 271 poems, 271 poems by Sir Piat and Henry Howard Earl of Surrey. Okay, when you talk about the sonnets and the development of the sonnet, we'll tell you about these two people, those brought sonnet system from Italy to the England. So these two people had written 271 poems, and Total Miscellany is the collection of that the poets working. I will give you the exact number uh, in the next lecture. How many poems written by the one person, second person, and third person, 2 to 3% over there, who contributed to the Smithsonian in 1557. Okay, we can find comments on religion in it. Later editors removed some references. And this one, the one who just inaugurated a long series of poetic anthologies in Elizabethan England. So, with this, we can say there is the end of historical background to the Queen Elizabeth, and a pure literature had started from this period onwards. Okay, so in this regard, when we just go forward and see the literature which has been flourished under the reign of Queen Elizabeth, it has the different angles. It had religious angle, it has social angle. Seven of it, several of it, it has, you can when uh, literally angles also. Okay, but they 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 always have a common motto, a particular motto behind writing. ओके, काही जे वर्क्स आहेत ते लिहिले गेलेत फक्त लोकांना प्लेजर मिळावं म्हणून, फॉर द प्लेजर ऑफ द कॉमन पीपल. सम वर्क्स हॅज बीन रिटन फॉर the work as the translation, and this translation had played a role in the development of the common people. ओके, काही वर्क्स लिहिले गेले ते फक्त जे काही रॉयल मॅरेजेस वगैरे झालेत, तर रॉयल मॅरेजेस सेलिब्रेट करण्याकरता काही वर्क्स लिहिले गेले. फिथॅलियम, प्रोथॅलेमियन्स, विल टॉक अबाउट इट. ते गोष्ट लिहिल्या गेल्यात. सो अँड देन कम्स दी ड्रामा. ओके, की त्या ड्रामाची ती वेगळी स्टोरी. विल अगेन टॉक अबाउट इट, बट when we talk about the drama. So this is from my side. Any questions regarding this? होप की तुम्हाला सगळं कळलंय. हा, आता क्वेश्चन्स दोनच कॅटेगरी, दोनच कंडिशन असतात की जेव्हा क्वेश्चन पडत नाहीत. पहिलं की सगळं समजल्यावर क्वेश्चन पडत नाहीत. दुसरी गोष्ट, काहीच समजलं नाही तर प्रश्न पडत नाही. तर तुमची कॅटेगरी कोणती आहे ते तुम्ही ठरवा, कळवा. ओके, सो एनी क्वेश्चन्स रिगार्डिंग दिस, एनिथिंग एल्स विच यू वॉन्ट टू कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट, विच यू वॉन्ट टू आस्क, विच यू वॉन्ट टू ॲड, काही पॉइंट की तो राहून गेला असणार आहे माझ्याकडून, प्लीज फील फ्री टू ॲड. येस. हां, लो लॅड मुवमेंट. जॉन वायक्लिफ जो होता, त्याचे जे फॉलोअर्स होते ना, त्यांना लो लॅड्स म्हणायचे. अँड फ्रॉम देम वी हॅव नेम फॉर लो लॅड मुवमेंट. हां, 2019-20 नेटला तो इतका क्वेश्चन विचारला गेला. हां, त्याकरताच म्हणतोय की गो टू द प्रिव्हियस क्वेश्चन पेपर, म्हणजे आपल्याला अभ्यास करताना आणि शिकताना त्या गोष्टी क्लिअर होत जातात. ओके, या. Pooja, we already discussed this scientific background today only. In scientific background, we had discussed Copernicus, we had discussed Galileo Galilei. Okay, so we just talked about some what we can say basic concept. Okay, uh, हाँ, Ptolemaic philosophy एक होती कि in second century there is one philosopher called the Ptolemy, and he just come up with this Ptolemaic philosophy, that is Earth is the center, and sun and the moon revolve around the sun. आणि त्यात परत पॉईंट गोष्टी होत्या काही की स्पेअर हा पृथ्वीच्या खाली आहे, आणि जे हेवन आहे ते पृथ्वीच्या सेंटरमध्ये. अँड दिस ऑल थिंग्स हॅज द बेस ऑफ द बायबल, ॲज इन द पॅराडाईज लॉस्ट वी हॅड दिस. इफ यू हॅव स्टडीड पॅराडाईज लॉस्ट बाय जॉन मिल्टन, नो, त्या सगळ्या गोष्टी डिस्कस केल्या आहेत. सो त्याला ते टॉलेमिक फिलॉसॉफीचा बेस होता. बट कोपरनिकस कम इन द पिक्चर, and he says that there is a sun who is stable and earth revolved around the sun. जो आत्ता पण concept मागितला आपल्याला बरोबर आहे. So in scientific background we can see this thing, that is Copernicus new view of this astronomy was further supported by Galileo Galilei, which he just come up with the his telescope. Scientific inventions actually in that case, see, आपण जर का सायंटिफिक इन्व्हेन्शन मध्ये गेलो ह्या पिरियड मधल्या, वी नो टू मच थिंग्स. ओके. पण I think that is this was the period where field of medicine, then field of astronomy, specifically medicine and astronomy ह्या गोष्टी खूप वाढत गेल्या. And yesterday only we had talked about the Renaissance. So Renaissance is the rebirth. So these people, what they have done, they had just started changing the different things. Okay, they just try to um, discover new things. त्यातली एक गोष्ट मी तुम्हाला सांगितली, ती सांगितली ॲस्ट्रॉनॉमी बद्दलची. आणि हीच गोष्ट मी तुम्हाला का सांगितली की किंवा गॅलिलिओ गॅलिली यांच्याबद्दल का बोललो, बिकॉज these all things were associated with the चर्च ॲट दॅट टाइम. ओके, कोपरनिकसला पण चर्चने त्यावेळेस हे दिलं की दिस इज द रिलिजियस थिंग अँड वाय यू आर इंटरफेअरिंग इन इट. ओके, म्हणून त्याला हे केलं. आणि 100 वर्षानंतर त्याच चर्चने माफी पण मागितली की नाही आम्ही त्यावेळेस चुकीचं होतं. ओके, दॅट वॉज अ डिफरंट थिंग. बट दिस ऑल थिंग्स हॅड impacted a literature a lot, and that's why we have discussed this thing. Instead, if we had talked about the invention of this period, okay, they don't have to do anything with the development of the literature. Do you think so? Yeah, in that case, if you're talking about the invention, I would like to tell you about the one thing, that is the invention of the printing press, which had played an inevitable role in the development of the literature, which we already had discussed in our lecture day yesterday when we talked about the William Caxton. Or yesterday only we had talked about the John Gutenberg. He from the Germany, and he invented the printing press in Germany, and then it's come back to the it's come to the England, and it had played a very, what we can say, revolutionary word, which I can use here, that in the literature, because प्रिंटिंग प्रेसमुळे काय झालं की लिटरेचर लोकांपर्यंत पोहोचणं सोपं झालं. ओके, होप यू जस्ट गेटिंग माय. येस, आय एम टेलिंग यू स्पेसिफिकली नो. इन्व्हेन्शन बद्दल तर कुठल्या इन्व्हेन्शन बद्दल विचारू शकतात ह्या गोष्टी, की पहिल्यांदा प्रिंटिंग प्रेस, विल्यम कॅक्स्टन. ओके, हे इन्व्हेन्शन बद्दल विचारतील. द सेकंड थिंग, they might have asked you about the invention of the Church of England, or they can they can ask you about the Protestant faith. um, I think अशा काही गोष्टी, just go and check out the previous year question paper. You don't find anything regarding the invention. Okay. हा, गॅलिलिओ गॅलिलीची जे टेलिस्कोप आहे त्याबद्दल पण थोडं, पण whatever study I have done, I don't find some in the previous year question paper. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else? What I want you to do, that while coming tomorrow, uh, just come and just study or just read about the Elizabethan poetry. Okay, I already started with the Elizabethan poetry, But what I'm going to do, that I would like to go bit deep in it. That's why tomorrow I'm going to talk about the Philip Sidney, one of the marvelous poet of the age. Okay, we already had discussed the Edmund Spencer. So these two and several other poets who belong to the Elizabethan age, I would like to talk about them. Okay, Michael Drayton was the one person who belongs to this period. Um, so these two to three English poets we will discuss, and after the English poetry, we'll move towards one of the mm, one of the what we can say khatarnak topic of the age, that is that is Elizabethan drama. Okay, yeah. Anything else which you want to ask? Add? Development of sonnets ही एक गोष्ट आपण डिस्कस करू. पेट्रार्कन सोनेट्स, इंग्लिश सोनेट, ओके, स्पेन्सरियन स्टांजा, इंग्लिश और स्पेन्सरियन सोनेट्स, पेट्रार्कन और इटालिक इटालिक, ओके. मग त्यातला डेल्टा होल्टा काय असेल नसेल ते सगळं. ओके, राईम स्कीम ए बी ए बी बी ए बी 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 सी 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 डी ए बी ए बी बी सी बी सी 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 डी डी सगळं. या Elizabethan sonnets, there is no sonnets belong to the Elizabethan age. There is no Elizabethan sonnet. They are Shakespearean or English sonnets and Petrarchan or uh, Italian sonnet. हे दोन प्रकार. नंतर एक येतं स्पेन्सेरियन सोनेट, एक प्रकार आहे. नंतर एक आहे विडगेट सोनेट. देन एक आहे कपगेट सोनेट म्हणून आहे, 11.5 लाईन सोनेट्स. हां, ते खूप नंतर इन्व्हेंट झाले. बट या मोस्ट ऑफ दिस सोनेट्स who belong to this age will discuss about. Yeah. So we'll stop for the day.